Welcome to the YouTube version of the podcast. I won't waste your time because there's another intro coming after the jump. All I will say is if you like what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe, notifications, you know the deal, blah, blah, blah. Enough of me. Roll it, will ya? Welcome back to the Goodbye Poor Hello Rich show. We are kicking on. Last week's show was a lovely little breakup of what we usually do. This week you're in for a bit of a treat. This week, let's get the headline out of the way, shall we? I'm interviewing my wife. This is going to be weird, isn't it? Look, we've already got a weird dynamic going on that we're husband and wife, we're business partners, and now she's actually going to be a guest on my show. We are coming live from our living room. I'm sitting at the dinner table, and in a minute we're going to have dinner, and after dinner she's going to come in and we're going to talk about all of the things that she has experienced as part of this challenge, but from a perspective that isn't mine. We're also going to talk about her journey, because let's face it, she's got a similar journey to me and a lot of you out there listening, in that she did all of the things that society told her to do. She went and got educated. She flew the nest and came down south from the West Mids in the Black Country and then down to Brighton, where she became a secondary school maths teacher. I mean, how typical is this of a British job in the middle class? You know what I mean? Did all of the things that she was meant to do. Before you know it, the teaching profession stopped being the thing that it was when she signed up to be the teacher. Same with me in the police. The thing you're signed up to when you're in your 20s and you're going into your career keen as mustard, sold these dreams of being able to make a difference in people's lives, turns out with the slow erosion of the public services down here, because let's not sugarcoat this, that's exactly what's going on. The slow erosion of the public services, it means that you're not just a teacher anymore. You're a teacher, you're a social worker, you're a police officer, all under the umbrella of a school roof. These teachers are multifaceted. They're the Swiss Army knife of jobs these days. It's just ridiculous, the responsibility that is put on the path of the teachers. When the parents have a problem with a child at school, they blame the teachers. When results don't go the way they want to go, they blame the teachers. When Ofsted come in and have a dig at whatever's going on, they blame the teachers. The teachers have just become the shield for everything that's wrong with the education system in this country, and it's a shambles. Anyway, that's a sidetrack that I wasn't expecting to go down. This is one of the reasons why Claire quit. She saw what was going on, and before you know it, in the public sector, you have this trench mentality. It's the same whether you work in the hospital, because yes, we know plenty of people that work in the NHS. You all do. And you're all told it's a trench mentality. You're in the trenches. It's the same with the police. It's the same with the firefighters. It's the same with the schooling. All of these public sectors are going down the toilet. They're going to get worse before they get better. And when people leave, people congratulate you. Isn't that weird? Well done for getting out. Like it's the ghetto. It's incredible. Claire left after maternity, and we're going to get into her story. And the well wishes that she got. Well done, well done, well done. You got out. Oh, I'm glad you got out. Like it's one of those Saw films. And it's such a shame. My boy, his teacher last year, it was her first placement year. By the end of the school year, she had left and she wasn't going back into the profession. That was her first year as a full-time teacher. All of that education, all of that training. Then reality hit in 1 year. And we went up to her at the end of term and just said, congratulations. Well done. Because she realised early this isn't a job. But when you go into these jobs, you've got this mindset that this is going to be me for the next 10 years. Anyway, we're going to get into all of that with Claire, because all I'm doing is talking about this from a perspective that isn't her. And we're going to find out everything that she's done, the transition that she went through, the conversations that she and I had. And I'm quite looking forward to the dynamic, because yes, we've written the plan out of the things we want to talk about. But you know how these conversations go when we sit down with a cup of tea. They could go off all over the place. And it's really interesting for me to see how she and I are going to bounce off each other in this. And I'm damn sure it's going to be really interesting for you as well. Before we get into it, thank you once again to our sponsors, Seller Amsas, which continues to be the best bit of sourcing analysis software out there on the market. You may have seen on my Instagram stories these last few weeks, something big is coming. Me and Luke Carwell, we're teaming up and we are going to change the game. I'm not going to tell you what field or anything like this yet. Needless to say, we have been researching, we have been putting work in for months now. And not only that, we have aligned ourselves with someone and something that makes what we offer better than anything out there on the market. Let's just leave you with that for now. And we can talk about that in future weeks when I'm allowed to share more, because this isn't just me. I'm part of a team here and we're making sure we're doing it right. But we are chomping at the bit and we can't wait to get going on this. Anyway, let's bring Claire in. Let's have the interview. We're not going to do the normal format here because I know people have been waiting to listen to Claire for a little while. So we're just going to have a chat and that's going to be the show. I've no doubt we'll roll it over 2 weeks. Let's get into it. Roll 'em. So, Mrs. Hamilton, welcome to the show again. Those of you on the other side of the camera won't know that we've already recorded 20 minutes of this before we realised that the microphone is broken. So the software company are getting a strongly worded email tomorrow. Right, let's go again. Call that a dress rehearsal.
Oh, okay.
Talk us through everything that got you here. Just, talk us through your journey from employee to employer.
So I was a maths teacher for over 20 years and I loved it. It's one of those professions that when I first started, it was brilliant. Loved it. It's one of those things that when you're in front of a group of kids that are wanting to learn, there's no better feeling.
It defines you, that sort of job, doesn't it?
Yeah, but as things got more difficult in terms of society and in terms of budgets being shrunk and funding being taken away, money became less, resources became less, but the expectation on you just became ridiculous.
Was there ever a point where you thought, my God, it's got bad? Or was it such a slow decline over so many years that you just went with it and went with it and went with it, and before you know it, the job was morphed into something completely different? Or was there a moment where you thought, that's not the same job anymore?
I don't know. I think for me, it was probably what was going on in my personal life that made me reflect more. And I think because of where I was in terms of past relationships and things like that.
We don't talk about that.
I was able to give a lot more to the job in terms of I was spending a lot of time working because I didn't have anybody necessarily else to kind of, answer to. And didn't have any children and things like that. So therefore, I did work more and I could give more. But then kind of when I met you, things changed very quickly and quite differently to what my previous life had been.
Is that because of my baggage?
Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of then made me realise that actually I couldn't give as much. And that's when I kind of started realising that actually it had become quite demanding as a job. And that trying to balance that work-life balance is really incredibly difficult with teaching.
That's interesting. We never really talked about this before in this level, have we? It makes sense though, doesn't it? You've only got so much time and energy to give. And it's a recurring theme of these last couple of weeks, actually, speaking to a few people. There's only so much time and energy you can give a person, an entity, a thing. So when someone or something comes across that grabs your attention, you can't do both.
No, and it's a shame that you can't, but it's just the way things have become in that there's so much more you're expected to be as a teacher. You couldn't just be a teacher of maths. You had to be everything else.
That's what's so weird. I said nearly that word for word before we recorded.
Really?
Yeah, exactly that. You're not just a teacher, you're a social worker, you're a police officer.
Yeah.
You're a parent.
Yeah, you are absolutely everything else. And I just found that actually it was becoming really, really draining. And I couldn't give the attention it needed because I didn't have necessarily time because my priorities had shifted. And my priorities become you and the kids. And so it became a case of, do I just do it and get the job done and be told, well, actually, no, that's not good enough? Or do I kind of put all my hours into working and then not having enough quality time with you and the kids?
Yeah.
And so it did come down to that case of what did I want my work-life balance to be and what did I want it to look like?
And I suppose the pregnancy with our firstborn just exacerbated that hugely, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Then obviously COVID hit after the firstborn,
Yeah.
and that was a complete change.
It was. I just want to reflect on that as well. This is ironic, by the way, because we're recording this, and this conversation that we had already previously had, none of this stuff had come up.
No, that's true actually.
When you were pregnant with Tommy, I think it really did hit home. I think I agree with everything that you've just said from the other side of the coin, where me looking on. Because you were pregnant with Tommy and all of a sudden the countdown was on for maternity. And because you had shifted this mindset, supported by this trip to Nepal where you went out to Nepal and you came home and you went, I've realised that community is everything, family is everything. That period where you were counting down and you were so looking forward to your maternity. You were so looking forward to going out on coffee mornings and tumble tots and baby yoga and stuff.
Yeah.
And then COVID came and snatched it all away, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I didn't have any of that with Tom at all.
And all of the other teachers went off as well. So not only did you not have the maternity away from the school, but all of the schools were off and you ended up homeschooling the other two as well.
Yes.
That was brutal.
And then when I returned after my maternity, we went into another lockdown.
That's right. And everyone already knew about virtual classes and you came in late into virtual classes,
and I didn't
you?
know how it worked as such. But not only was I trying to teach my own classes, I had Tommy to look after. Isla was having to do her live classes at the same time, and Wilbur was trying to do his live classes at the same time.
And Will was only in year one where he had the attention
And
span.
he couldn't do
gnat.
anything. And you were having business meetings and stuff all the time.
For my day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't moonlighting if anyone's listening.
No, nothing like that. It was a case you had meetings that you needed to run because you couldn't go into the office, but everyone needed to constantly be in contact with each other.
Yeah.
So I just sat there just going, this is just a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
And I remember us having to sit down and it was almost like we were having to plan 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Who was going to be looking after the kids, who was going to be on which live call, who was going to be looking after Tom, what happens if he screams the place down whilst I'm teaching.
Oh, it was horrible. It was
It was horrendous,
wasn't it?
No, it was horrible. It wasn't the best.
No.
The best times at all.
I think at that point we realised that you were just a number.
Yes.
Despite everything that you gave to that profession. The fact that you went off and came back again, you were just a resource.
Yes. And I don't think it was necessarily the school's fault, but I think it's the fact, it was the circumstances that...
It's the industry.
Yeah, everybody, it's the same thing probably up and down the country that everyone's been put under.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was a sudden moment in time that made me think, oh, it's a really bad time. I think it was a slow decline in that the expectations grew and grew and grew. But also I think for me, it was a change in circumstances that made me think, I can't work at the pace that I'm working at if I want to have, the family life that I want and deserve.
But we got to really emphasise here, at this point, we are 2020, 2021. Quitting our jobs wasn't even on the radar.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't even a thing we could dare to dream, was it?
No, because I think we didn't know what was happening in terms of COVID because it kind of kept coming and going type thing. But also we were in the midst of planning a wedding.
Yeah.
So that was kind of more in the forefront of our minds.
It was. And then with a week to go, that was still up in jeopardy.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Because the old Delta variant, and they were saying Ireland shut down, Northern Ireland shut down, Wales shut down, Scotland shut down. But it was that period in England where Boris went, no, we're not shutting down anymore. So we got to have the wedding. Bloody hell, everyone needed a party at that point, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we got married on New Year's Eve. And then, talk us through your perspective in Edinburgh, coming home.
Yeah, so we were sat in the airport on the way home.
About the 3rd of January 2022.
Something like that. And I was hungover, like I don't know what, because we'd been to the Witchery the night before. And it's a lovely restaurant.
It's in Edinburgh Castle.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
But yeah, we kind of had that kind of conversation of just thinking, well, actually, why is it that we've both been to university, we've done everything that everyone's told us that we should do, we've gone and got professions as such,
We've had the kids,
and
we got married, we did all of the things that we were meant to do.
yeah, and why is it still tough? Why is it not easy? Why are things not easy financially? And I know we just had the wedding, but
Yeah.
it wasn't just that. And I think we both kind of said to each other, I'd been looking at a few people, been following a few people on Instagram, and
They were doing the penny savings challenges and things.
yeah, and things like that. And I just kind of thought, well, actually, they're not simple, but they're things I could do to kind of help bring in a bit more money each month.
Yeah.
Alongside my job.
Yeah. Because at that point, it wasn't that we were running out of money at the end of the month.
No.
We were lucky if we were getting halfway through the month. We were in overdrafts by the end of the week, never mind the end of the month.
So it's just, we just kind of wanted to make sure that we could just find a better way. Not better way, but we just wanted to make things easier.
Yeah. And this is one of the things we talk about. When we say to people, we'll just help you get another couple of £100 because we know how much that helps to bills. We were living it. We understand it. You don't need thousands.
No.
I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
But it was hundreds that we were aiming for in January 2022.
So I did the selling anything I could find, the kids' old clothes around the house and stuff. Surveys, receipt scanning, mystery shopping. It was amazing how quickly, when you kind of doing loads and loads of different things, how quickly it all amounts to.
Yeah.
And it was, it started to be that little extra each month was really good.
And I think that's the first time we noticed that. Everyone, when you put a bet on a football match and you do an accumulator, you'll want to win £1,000.
Yeah.
It was the first time where we realised, well, if we just make £3 to £5 a night, that will really bolster it.
And obviously I did match betting.
Oh, you did do match betting.
Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. So I did match betting and actually made some really decent money on that.
Yeah, you did.
And then at the same time...
That was lovely being able to watch the football with you, by the way.
I wasn't watching it for the football reasons. But then, at the same time, you kind of then did your own research because you were thinking, you wanted to... We knew there was ways you can make money, basically.
I remember we went down the private label route. I sat the course from Jungle Scout and I got a sample.
Yes.
I got a sample from China, like a foam paper aeroplane.
The kids loved it.
They did love it. We got two. Went out to the park in Brighton. But these things sold buckets in America. Looking back now, it would never have worked. We were in a completely competitive field.
But we looked at different. You looked at different things.
I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of KDP and drop shipping and all sorts.
And then it was a case of that took about 8 to 9 months before eventually you felt confident to go right.
Well, I knew it was FBA around 6 months, so I gave myself a couple of months. But at the same point, I knew I wanted to document it. Everyone's heard this story, so I put my brand values in place. I put the business plan in place. I read books, and I didn't really tell you about it because you were making your money your way, and I was researching my way.
Oh no, I knew you were researching, and I knew you were doing things.
Yes,
but I didn't know. You weren't necessarily talking me through it as such.
Well, no, I didn't tell you about the brand values document that I did.
No.
I didn't tell you about what I was doing with ChatGPT because it's boring, let's be honest, and who cares? It's not making us any money. But I knew what I wanted to do. I remember we went down to Cornwall and I was filming outside the tent and things like that, filming outside.
And then you
the
sold
caravan.
your first book you sold was when we were in Cornwall.
Yeah, it was. That was actually, I tell you what, I don't think I share that. I sold that FBM accidentally, completely wrong. I don't count that as part of the challenge. It was the chimp paradox because we had 2 of them. And I thought, well, you know what, let's just throw it in at Amazon and see what happens. And I did it wrong because it ended up going FBM, not FBA. But it's sold. That wasn't the proof of concept for me, though. That was a case of, that was an accident.
Yeah, that was just kind of checking that the kind of admin side of it worked.
That's it. I mean, even that seller account got shut down because I didn't touch it for so long.
And then and then it all kind of kicked on from there. And
when I started talking about this challenge, and when all of a sudden I'm filming in the house and I'm filming in the car and I'm putting things together, and we go up to your mum and dad's and I'm filming in your mum and dad's house and editing on my own phone, what were your thoughts? What were you thinking was going on here?
Well, I knew that you wanted to have more presence on social media. But for me, I was worried about how much time it would take away from the family.
Fair enough.
And, you know, obviously I'm on my phone a lot more now, but it used to be that I was never really on my phone.
No, that's right. You were pretty good.
And sometimes, you know, we'd be eating or we'd be out and about and you'd just be permanently attached to your phone. So that, to begin with, was frustrating.
I can understand that. Because I wasn't great on my phone in the first place. I'd say I was about 6 out of 10 for how often I was on my phone. But then when this blew up, it was a good 9.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yes.
But yeah. I mean, what do you do?
I know.
You do a post on TikTok, you refresh it, and you've got 99 notifications, and then you refresh it again. I used to sit in the pub with Carl and go, right, let's have a drink. By the time I finish this drink, I've got over 100 notifications. It was crazy.
No, it was crazy. And, you know, you became quicker at being able to do things. But I think, yeah, to begin with, that it was the amount of time being attached to your phone.
Yeah.
Quite challenging at times.
No, it's fair. It's fair. And the phone thing wasn't necessarily making us money at that time.
No.
Either.
No.
Bloody hell. Well, thank you. So then, how did it feel then when things started taking off and all of a sudden the phone was lending us more income streams?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tricky because you still don't know if it's just a fluke.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it's actually, if there's any longevity in it or, you know. So, and because we were still kind of testing a lot of concepts and, you know, we still weren't sure if it was going to be able to be at a point where we could basically both of us be in a position to give up our jobs and do this full time. It was only when we kind of set ourselves little, not little challenges within the challenge type of thing, but as soon as we kind of started seeing things happen more regularly.
Yeah.
And we started tracking things more and we could see the growth and we could see the consistency of things happening, so we could prove that it wasn't just a one-off fluke.
Yeah.
Then I think that kind of gave us more confidence in knowing that actually this could be something.
It was the people that were coming to the table.
Yeah.
It was Christmas time when Al Colton said, let's have a chat. And I remember saying to you, I'm speaking to the CEO of Cellaramp, and I was only 3 months in. Then the guys down in Wales for Source Mogul gave us a chat, and they started saying, well, if you did this, this and this, and we did this, this and this, and it was all just conjecture. But I remember getting off the phone to you saying, we could make £20,000 a month if we do this right, if we can. And then people were saying, I'll pay you to mentor me. And it was a light bulb for me. It was this, well, we were plugging along, making our 30%, doing our Amazon RA and ROA, watching Emma Hamilton on YouTube, and it was you that said to me, oh, she's from the Black Country. And it was just all of a sudden these big hitters saying, come on, this is what you need to do. This is how I did it.
Yeah.
Call me if you need anything. Like, what? And then it just seemed to be, you know what? This is real. Yeah, looking back, incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. As soon as these kind of things started to happen, I kind of then tried to get into it more by doing more sourcing, which was incredibly frustrating. But then the more I did it, the easier it became as such.
Hang on, you skipped over that. How difficult did you find it?
It was bloody hard. I hated it. Yeah, it was really difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's one of the things that so many people who are new say about it. If you're not in some sort of kind of lead group or Discord or anything like that, where you're given leads, finding your own products takes ages, and it's the most soul destroying thing ever.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? Month 1, you're using free trials on ArborSource, on Source Mogul, on all of these brilliant bits of kit that can put products on your doorstep. And you're finding products and they can turn a profit. But then month 2 and month 3, reality kicks in.
Yeah, and I think because you find these products quite quickly using, resources like that, which are absolutely brilliant, then the reality of it being taken away as such, because if you can't afford it for whatever reason.
And they're 70 quid a month. When you're
Yeah.
starting with £200, you can't afford to
No.
lay out 70 quid a month.
And then you start realising how difficult it is. Oh, it's just the worst feeling in the world. And so, yeah, I'd spent hours at this table trying to find products and just trying to give it a go. And I just felt like I was never going to get anywhere. And I hated it because I just felt as though I'd been wasting hours upon hours trying to find something that I could never find.
Looking back, it worked out so perfectly, because it could have been that I spoke to someone that I had a contact with now who could have given us leads, who could have said, do this, do this, do this. But whether we meant to or not, we learned the hard way, the proper way.
Yeah. And I think I was so determined to do it. And I thought, being a maths teacher, I can do this. I can read the data. I just need to actually apply it more and I know what I was reading and knew what I was looking for. But
that
then trying
conviction,
to find it.
wasn't it? As well as that courage to say, I know that's a good product. It's a lot of bottle.
It is. And I just thought, part of me was stubborn. And I thought, no, I'm going to stick at it. And, there was times I tried to take the kids and round, try and do some scanning. And that was just a nightmare in itself. But eventually...
Yeah, I remember you saying, right, you look after the kids, I need an hour.
Yeah.
I need to go scanning.
I need to, just for my own sanity.
No, it's right.
And then, so eventually it just became easier and easier. And
I'm thrown in as well, you were about 5-6 months pregnant at this point as well.
Yes, I was.
Which isn't a barrel of laughs.
No. Hormonal. Trying to learn to source.
Security guard, don't even dare look at you.
No. No. And so, I just thought, eventually, rather than just kind of going in and scattergunning everything, I kind of started to realise where I needed to look. And it's a really odd thing to say, and I can't explain it at all. But you can kind of then, you can walk into a shop and kind of know where to kind of start looking. You don't look at everything, you kind of can pick out certain things that potentially, do you know what, I think that's going to give me a bit of profit.
Yeah.
And usually 9 times out of 10 it does.
You do, you get an eye for it. It's
Yeah.
weird, isn't it? I remember you ringing me up and you saying, I've been to Tesco, this was in the early days, I've been to Tesco, I think I've found a product, go in there, they're the big button landlines.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of varieties of these BT landlines, loads of them, and you really didn't want to take the punt. And I went in there, scanned this data. This data was off the charts.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think
off the charts good, and they sold within like a week.
they'd sold before they'd even got into the fulfillment centre. Yeah.
And we're talking 15 to 20 quid profit per unit. They were brilliant. I think you needed a slam dunk like that. Where I said to you, no, you were dead right. They were amazing.
Yeah, and then I remember you used to say, like, it used to be that I used to go out scanning and go, can you have a look at this and see what you think? And then it got to a stage where you're like, no, I'm not telling you anything else. You're like, you've got to do this for yourself. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
have that.
like, that's a bit brutal.
Tough love, baby.
Yeah. But actually, I needed to have that kind of... I knew what I was doing, but I just had to have that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. When you've got me, dare I say it, who people were saying, oh, train me. Of course you're going to use me. Of course you are.
But, I do think, it's going to sound a bit big-headed, but do think I am probably now better sourcing.
Oh, hands down.
Better at sourcing.
Hands down. It's not even a question. You are much better than me. I come to you now.
I know.
Which leads us on to how you found what is our best-selling bundle.
So I needed to ungate in a particular big brand. So as you do, you try and find the cheapest thing you can find.
We weren't looking for bundles at this point.
No, we weren't looking at bundles at all. Bundles hadn't even come up to us. Well, no, we'd started thinking about bundles, but we hadn't pulled the plug on it.
No, you're right. We had done our chocolate Lindor bundle at this point.
We had tested the waters.
And they sold after Easter, which was crazy.
Yes.
But then the chocolate
scenario,
thing
warm
came
weather,
in, the meltables and all that,
thought,
so we know.
So, I needed to ungate. So I found a product that was really cheap and got us ungated. So I thought, well, I've got them. They seem to be okay. It might take a little while, but that's fine. I'll send them in. And actually, they're sold out within a week.
And what did I say?
And you like, it's ridiculous.
They'll never sell.
They'll never sell.
What a waste of time. At least we're ungated. That's all that matters. Let's go and get this product now, which was the focus. We were meant to get this product to get ungated.
And we did go and get that other product.
It didn't sell as well as the thing that got us ungated.
No, it didn't, to be fair.
Madness.
But, yeah, so I thought, well, I'll get some more of those, send them in. They all went really quickly. So I thought, oh, okay, this is nice. And there weren't that many sellers on it.
No.
I think there was only me and maybe one other.
And it was around about this point where we joined the Hive as well, wasn't it?
Yes, and then started thinking about bundles. And so, then we got trained up by the Queen of Bundles herself, Natalie Cromie. What she doesn't know about bundles, it's just not worth knowing. And, I kind of suggested this idea. And she was like, yeah, it sounds quite good. And I was like, see, I told you.
And what do you two know?
You were like, no, it's ridiculous. I don't think you should be wasting any more energy on it. I just think, you just need to go with my idea.
I did.
You really did. And I was like, I'm not convinced by your idea because there wasn't really that much data with your idea.
Loads of it.
So I thought, well, actually, I'll do some research, and it's turned out to be our bestseller. So
our bestseller. Shut my mouth.
Yeah. So that's why I think I'm better at sourcing than my husband.
And there you go, there's the show. I've been sharking for Claire to come on here for the best part of, 6 months now. I'm so glad that she's actually come on. We'll definitely have her back on. I mean, why not? It's the easiest guest in the world. But I think there's an awful lot of value we can share, especially when we start talking about these things that we're doing in TikTok, when things are out in the open. Because I think there's an awful lot of knowledge on TikTok out there. And there are an awful lot of growing courses that could be defined as scammy that we are seeing more and more of. And we're looking to put things right in that space. No tip of the week this week because we have thrown out a load of stuff between Claire and I. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know what you think. I'm going to put Claire's username for TikTok down in the show notes, so give her a follow if you want and see the sort of things that she's doing to give you a little hint of the things that we're doing down the tracks. That will do. Kids are back at school. It's all very quiet out on the streets, isn't it? But enjoy the time. Have a lovely week. I'll see you next time. Ta-da.